Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Thursday evening, October 17, 2024. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video. I'd really appreciate it if you guys get this video up to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more persons who are in the path of these tropical systems so that we can keep everyone safe, especially during the peak of Atlantic hurricane season. That's August through to October. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, your relatives, and even your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Leave a comment down below, letting me know what though that's been like in you recently. Also, feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Alright, so let us take a look at the U.S. National Hurricane Center's 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook. And we can see that as of their latest update that just came out at 7:16 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, which is actually 6:16 p.m. Jamaica time, so almost 30 minutes ago, we can see that the areas have flipped. We once had a code orange right here out in the main development region. Now it's turned to a code yellow. And we once had a code yellow right here in the Western Caribbean. Now it's turned into a code orange. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before the sun went down, we can make out these entities. The code orange definitely has a lot more shower and thunderstorm activity today. Look at all of the clouds, and it's definitely interacting with that frontal system across Florida into the Bahamas right there. And we can also make out the clouds associated with that tropical wave, that area of low pressure that has a low chance of development as it pushes to the west. Let us see what the Hurricane Center is stating as of their latest update. Alright, so they've stated here regarding the code orange, so we're moving from left to right. Satellite images show a broad area of low pressure over the Western Caribbean Sea is gradually becoming better defined, and nearby buoy observations indicate surface pressures are falling. The associated shower and thunderstorm activity has increased since yesterday, and environmental conditions appear conducive for some additional development over the next couple of days. A short-lived tropical depression or storm could form before the system moves inland over Belize and the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico on Saturday. Regardless of development, locally heavy rainfall is likely across portions of Central America and southern Mexico through the weekend. And we see that they've given it a 40% chance of cyclone formation within the next 48 hours as well as the next 7 days. Regarding the other system, they've stated here a poorly defined trough of low pressure located a couple of 100 miles east of the Leeward Islands is producing some disorganized showers and thunderstorms. Development, if any, of this disturbance should be slow to occur while it moves quickly westward to west-northwestward at around 20 miles per hour, passing near the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico on Friday, then near Hispaniola and the southeastern Bahamas on Saturday. By late this weekend, further development is not expected due to strong upper level winds, and we see that they've given it a 10% chance of cyclone formation within the next 2 days and a 20% chance of cyclone formation within the next 7 days. And as they stated here regarding this code orange, it could develop into either a tropical depression or a storm, and we know the next name on the list is Nadine, so that is the name that it could acquire before it heads into Belize or the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico. And if we take a look at the close-up regarding the satellite images, we can definitely see the deep convection associated with the system. We can see Grand Cayman right here. We can see Jamaica right here. We can see Honduras and Nicaragua right here. Look at all of the showers and thunderstorms that's taking place to the west of Jamaica as we speak. Look at the blues, the greens, the yellows, oranges, reds, the blacks, the grays, the pinks that represents that deep convection. That is as bad as it gets. It's definitely trying to get organized as we speak. So I wouldn't be surprised if we wake up to a code orange or maybe a potential tropical cyclone. We know they, transform these things into potential tropical cyclones because they're not necessarily tropical storm status yet, but they could affect London. They want to get the alerts out there, the tropical storm watches or warnings or whatever is to come. So I wouldn't be surprised if we get a potential tropical cyclone within the next 24 hours, if not a tropical depression or a storm. And we see the path that both supercomputer models are taking it, the Euro model, the spaghetti plots, pushing the system northwestward and then to the west, definitely into Belize right there. Even the GFS supercomputer model spaghetti plots doing something similar, with most of the models pushing more north, then pushing back down to the west. And we see that some of them are even making it up to the greens and even some yellows that represent tropical storm status. Not so much on the Euro, more so the blues represents tropical depression status. So it's going to be interesting to see which one of the maps actually come to fruition. Will it be the Euro with the depression status, or will it be the GFS with the tropical storm status? Either way, the model intensity guidance is still adamant that within the next 48 hours, the next 2 days, as we can see by this line graph, the system could definitely make it all the way up to tropical storm status for the most part. Some models taking it up to hurricane status in the yellows. We know tropical storm status anywhere from 35 knots to 65 knots. 65 knots onward, hurricane status in general. So it's going to be interesting to see if this actually happens in the Western Caribbean. I'll definitely be here to keep you posted with what occurs. Regarding the other system right here to the east of the Leeward Islands, they've already begun getting in on some amount of rainfall, and there's going to be a lot more within the next 24 hours across the Leeward Islands. We can see the islands right here from Guadeloupe, Dominica, the Antigua and Barbuda, St. Kitts and Nevis, the US and British Virgin Islands, all of these islands right here, with all of the thunderstorms associated with this tropical wave off to the east of there, all of this pushing westward. And we can definitely see the upper level winds definitely shearing the system off to the west. This is why the system is struggling to develop, because it has a lot of warm water to work with. It's just the dry air as well as the wind shear, the upper level winds that are tearing the tops of these thunderstorms off. Definitely not getting to wrap around the center of the system. But regarding the spaghetti model tracks, the Euro models right here, making the system push west northwestward, then possibly back west. Some of them making it to the west southwest, possibly over southeastern Cuba, to the north of Jamaica, right there across the Cayman Islands, maintaining possibly tropical depression status. We'll see how that goes. The GEFS, the GFS models, something similar, pushing it towards the northwest, then to the west. One model making it across southeastern Cuba to right there to the east of the Cayman Islands, just like what the Euro was showing. We'll see if that actually happens. Either way, regarding the intensity model guidance, we can definitely see that many of these entities are making it up into tropical storm status as early as within the next 2 days. So sometime between Saturday and Sunday, that's the only window that is left. And considering that it has been downgraded back to a code yellow, the chances are definitely slim. It's going to be interesting to see if it actually acquires the other name that's on the list, which is Oscar. And if we take a look at the supercomputer model forecast maps, this map from the Euro, we're going to be going on to the next 168 hours, and we're going to be focusing our attention on this portion of the basin, the system across the Western Caribbean here, and we're going to be looking at this system right here across the Eastern Caribbean. We're looking for moisture, we're looking for what's going to be happening on both maps, we're looking for consensus. And as we go out in time, so as we head into Friday, we see 9:00 on Friday, which is actually 4 a.m. We still see some amount of moisture coming into portions of Jamaica right here. Most of the moisture should be off to the west of us, right here to the east of Belize, affecting the Cayman Islands, Central America, Western Cuba. We also see the moisture associated with the tropical wave definitely coming into portions of the Leeward Islands some more. And as we continue to go out in time, we see what occurs. The system should be right here to the north of Hispaniola. The other system has already entered into Central America, definitely bringing lots of moisture, showers and thunderstorms to the region. And then look at this, look at what the Euro is showing, and keep in mind that this is the latest run from the Euro from this afternoon. And look, we see the deepest greens or the darkest greens and the yellows and the oranges right here across southeastern Cuba, right there to the north of Jamaica. Definitely interesting if this actually comes to fruition. We see a lot of moisture across portions of Jamaica into the Western Caribbean. And as we continue to go out in time, we see what occurs. Most of this moisture starts to lift northward right there to the east of the Bahamas. And then by the end of 268 hours, we see what happens. It starts to clear out right here. Most of the moisture seems to be right here to the north of the Eastern Caribbean, and still some leftover moisture across the central to the Western Caribbean. Let us match it with what the GFS is showing for the same time period. So as we go out in time, 12Z on Friday, which is actually 7 a.m. on Friday, still has some lingering rainfall coming into especially southern and eastern Jamaica. Some rainfall right there across the waters to the west of Jamaica, associated with that airflow pressure that's trying to become a depression or a storm. We see the moisture associated with the other system to the north of the Dominican Republic by 12Z on Saturday, which is actually 7 a.m. on Saturday. And then as we continue to go out in time, we see the system definitely making landfall into Central America right there by 7 a.m. on Sunday. The other system still right here to the north of Haiti. We can make out the kind of kink to the atmosphere right there. And then we see what happens. A lot of moisture stretch out across the Caribbean, but we know the system should be somewhere here to the north of Hispaniola, according to this run of the GFS. And then as we wrap up the next 168 hours, just like what the Euro was showing, we still have an abundance of moisture still plaguing portions of the Caribbean, the Western Caribbean, the waters across the Eastern Caribbean, and to the northeast of there as well. So regardless of any development, there's a lot of rainfall in the forecast. And the supercomputer mouse accumulated precipitation forecasts are in consensus with this. Look at all of the reds. Look at all of the burgundies that represent 1 to 2 inches of rainfall all across the basin. And we know the purples into the pinks represent 3 to 4, maybe even 5 inches of rainfall. And we know if we get up into these lighter shades of blues, it's some tremendous rainfall, anywhere from 10 all the way up to 12 inches. And that is what's being forecasted for portions of the Yucatan Peninsula on the GFS. It's being forecasted for portions of Honduras and portions of northeastern Guatemala on the Euro. But we still see a lot of colors that represent what? Anywhere from 4 to 8 inches of rainfall across the Western Caribbean. So there definitely could be some amount of flash flooding, especially across Belize, the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico, into the Cayman Islands, Honduras right there. Jamaica definitely see more rains than anything else. So I guess most of our rainfall is over. But we still have a lot more rainfall to get. We see the rays that represent 1 to 2 inches of rainfall still in the forecast for us. If we take a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, we can see that we have that frontal system, that cold front right here across the southeastern United States. Well, not across the southeastern United States, but they're definitely getting in on those cooler than average temperatures. But the front is across the Bahamas, the western portions of Cuba, into the Western Caribbean. The tropical wave is right here across the southwestern Caribbean, and the other tropical wave is right here to the northeast of the Caribbean. And if we take a look back at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before the sun went down, we can make out all of these entities. The clouds associated with the cold front bring overcast sky showers and thunderstorms to portion of the Bahamas, southern Florida, Cuba, the Cayman Islands, definitely interacting with that broad airflow pressure that's trying to develop. And we can also see the clouds associated with that tropical wave, that airflow pressure that's trying to develop as it pushes towards the west. We'll be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean weather later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Thursday, October 17, 2024. It was stated that parts of some southern and eastern parishes in Jamaica would have received some rainfall last night into Thursday morning, and then would have had some rainfall across sections of some central and western parishes during Thursday afternoon. And just for reference, southern parishes, we're talking about those parishes on the bottom side of the island, like Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine, Kingston, St. Andrew, and St. Thomas. While eastern parishes, we're talking about those parishes like Surrey, those parishes in the county of Surrey, like Portland, St. Thomas, Kingston, St. Andrew. While central parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Middlesex, like St. Anne, St. Mary, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine. And the western parishes, we're talking about those parishes such as Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, Westmoreland, and St. Elizabeth. And what ended up happening? As early as 12:25 a.m., so a little bit after midnight last night, we were highlighting some clouds coming in from the south and from the east. Definitely bring some rainfall to portions of St. Thomas, Portland. Some of this definitely came in from the south as well to affect sections of St. Catherine, Clan, Manchester as well. And as the day progressed, 5 a.m., the Cuban Doppler radar images were posted, highlighting the greens and the yellows that represent amount of rainfall, still affecting the waters in and around the island just as predicted, and some of the rainfall affecting eastern Jamaica at that time, St. Thomas and Portland. Then finally, the last thing that was posted here on our Twitter page for the day. By the way, keep in mind that these posts aren't only made here on our Twitter page at Weather Jamaica, but they're also made on our Instagram page at Weather.Jamaica, on our TikTok page at Weather Jamaica, and on our Facebook page at Weather Jamaica 876. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there, as we may post throughout the day that you can't afford to miss. So at around 10:15 a.m., we saw that we were still being plagued with some amount of clouds bringing overcast skies and some thunderstorms. We saw the thunderstorms, we saw the sparkling yellow dots. We saw that we were definitely getting in on some amount of rainfall across the island for sure. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of Jamaica before the summer done, we can indeed see that we definitely got in on that afternoon rainfall across some northwestern parishes. St. James, Hanover for sure got in on that. And before the day was all said and done, we had a stream of showers coming into portions of Clarendon, Manchester, as well as portions of St. Thomas and Portland. And if we take a look at the latest infrared satellite image, well, not the latest, but the infrared satellite images before all was said and done, we can definitely see that some of these clouds that came into portions of Clarendon were definitely bringing some thunderstorms to portions of Manchester at that time, section of St. Thomas and Portland too. I definitely got on some of the rainfall. And if we take a look at the Barbican live camera here, we can definitely make out the wet ground for sure. This was around 5:46 p.m. this evening. You can see cars with their windshield wipers on, people walking with their umbrella, just to indicate that we're receiving some amount of light rainfall across the Barbican area, just as predicted. Even although we did indeed get less rainfall today than what we got yesterday, we're indeed grateful for the rainfall to cool down the temperatures, and there could definitely be some more tonight into tomorrow. And if we take a look at the accumulated precipitation for the past 24 hours from the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology website, this map does indeed paint a picture of how we had the rainfall across the island from the east to the west, and it's more so isolated across the island, not as colorful as yesterday's rainfall map at all. And we definitely have the comments here coming in from our followers. First one here from our follower Sherry Walking in Favor Stewart on our Facebook page. You guys are so accurate. The lightning and thunder woke me up and I realized it's raining. So I guess that was posted early this morning, 2:07 a.m. And we're getting in on that early morning rainfall. And even on our Instagram page, you had the comments coming in about the rainfall. Kadia Lee, raining in Greater Portmore this morning. Kami_extreme, raining in Spanish Town. We have King Kim _the_ Queen Pin. It's raining here in New Kingston. Mary_Berry 22 stating, yes, rain in Clarendon now. Then if we take a look here, Marlon_one God_ a pay thunder rule. Colder ._than._ice_ states rain a tear at Red Hills now. We also have Anto_Netty_89 hitting, it's currently raining here off the Washington Boulevard. Shells Dizzle, Maypen, Clarendon getting heavy rainfall. And we also have right here Antonetti89 got some rain in halfway tree this morning, and it's currently overcast in my area of Stony Hill in St. Andrew. Alright, so I guess she posted twice. She posted this morning when she was in the boulevard, when she was on the boulevard, and then she posted when she was in halfway tree for sure. So That indeed confirms the rainfall. We definitely got some rainfall across the island today, even though it was not as robust as what we got yesterday. And we're indeed grateful for that. And if we take a look at the very latest infrared satellite image, we're going to be looking at the latest still image that just came out at about 55 minutes past the last hour. And that would be 6:55 p.m. So this just came out 7 minutes ago. This is what's happening right now. And some of these clouds that we see across portion of Clare and Manchester, Westmoreland, Hanover, section of Portland and St. Thomas could have some rainfall within them. Unfortunately, the Cuban Doppler radar glitched out again for the millionth time. We can see it right here stopping at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 2:30 p.m. Jamaica time. And at that time, we definitely had some heavy rainfall passing to the southwest of us. Look at all of that heavy rainfall to the south of St. Elizabeth and Westmoreland at that time. Some isolated rainfall to the east of Jamaica right there. But if we take a look at the very latest Guantanamo Bay Naval Radar Station radar, let us look at the very latest. And the latest image just came out at what, 45 minutes past the hour. So that's about 6:45 p.m. We can make out the blues and the greens represent some amount of rainfall across the waters to the east of Jamaica, as well as onshore across section of Portland right there. If we take a look at the Cayman radar, let's reload it so that we have the very latest. We're going to be looking at the final image that just came out. Alright, so we're going to be looking right here at the timestamp. And the timestamp showing the latest time would be as of 53 minutes past the hour. Alright, so 6:55 p.m. We're going to stop it right there. Alright, so this is what is happening. We see a lot of rainfall associated with that tropical wave in and around Grand Cayman. Some of this rainfall across western Jamaica. Negril for sure getting on some light rainfall. Definitely some heavy rainfall going to be experienced across the Cayman Islands tonight. We know a lot of Jamaicans live there or work there, so they're definitely going to be in for some amount of isolated flash flooding. If we take a look at the temperatures right now, we can tell 27 degrees Celsius in both Montego Bay and Kingston. Could be even cooler than that, especially where we had the rainfall today. And if we take a look at the temperatures for tomorrow morning, this is valid for 4 a.m. on Friday, and the temperature should dip down to about 25 degrees Celsius in both Montego Bay and Kingston. If we take a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, this map from the GFS is valid for 18Z on Friday. When calculated, that's about 1 p.m. on Friday. And we can see Jamaica right here embedded in some slight yellow colors that we know represents 1 degree Celsius above normal temperatures according to the key on the right. And we know that the average temperatures, or the normal temperatures for the month of October, are about the same as 89 degrees Fahrenheit. When calculated, 89 degrees Fahrenheit is about the same as 31.6 degrees Celsius. So the temperature should be getting back up there, considering that the tropical wave is going to be pushing, or not the tropical wave, the broad airflow pressure now, because the tropical wave has definitely been absorbed by that system. All of that is pushing to the west towards Central America. So the temperatures are going to be rising tomorrow. Look out for some sun tomorrow, even though rain is still in the forecast. So we should be receiving anywhere from 31 to 32 degrees Celsius at most for Jamaica's temperature on Friday. And if you're going to be feeling the heat, you know the drill. It's Friday. Dress down. Wear lightweight clothing and use sunscreen. Always limit the non-essential strenuous activity during the hottest parts of the day. And I cannot stress how important staying hydrated is. Drink lots of water. Put away that sugar drink and drink water instead, even if you're not thirsty. If we take a look at the Saharan dust forecast for 2 p.m. on Friday, we can see the Saharan dust right here across the eastern to the central portion of the main development region. We see those darker shades of brown in there that we know can cause the very hazy skies, not to mention trigger some amount of respiratory illnesses, asthma, sinusitis in some persons. But we can definitely see that North America, the Caribbean, South America, Central America definitely in the clear for 2 p.m. on Friday, and we're indeed grateful for that. But we know it's only a matter of time before this pushes westward, all courtesy of the high pressure that's steering it. What we're hoping is that it continues to dwindle the more west it comes. If we take a look at the wave forecast for tomorrow, Both maps from the Euro and the GFS still in consensus that we're going to be getting on those blues across the Caribbean that we know represents anywhere from 1 to 1.5 meter wave heights. And that's because the winds across the Caribbean are going to be averaging anywhere from 10 to 20 knots. You even see some slight yellows in there that get all the way up to the 25 knot range. And we see the general flow of the winds coming in from the east for the most part. And regarding the close-up of Jamaica tomorrow regarding the winds, we can definitely see we're in for an easterly flow across the island tomorrow. Look at this, definitely quite an easterly flow, and we see that all of the air should be piling up across section of some central and western parishes. That's where we're going to be having those low-level clouds becoming mid-level rain clouds, if not upper-level cumulonimbus clouds. So look out for that afternoon rainfall. Any rainfall that comes off of the east definitely going to be affecting St. Thomas and Portland for sure. That's the flow. That's the pattern for tomorrow's rainfall. And if we take a look at the actual rainfall forecast maps now, this map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both showing 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 5 a.m. Jamaica time. We do see some rainfall right there across the southern portions of Clarendon, some rainfall right there across eastern St. Thomas and Portland. We see that on both the Euro and the GFS malls for sure. That's where we see the agreement. Skipping ahead now to about 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 9 a.m. Jamaica time. Where do we see the agreement? Where do we see the rainfall in the forecast? Still across section of St. Thomas and Portland right there. Maybe spilling into portions of maybe St. Andrew. Don't want to say Kingston. We see the Euro model trying to incorporate some of the blues across St. Andrew. Not so much on the GFS at all. But if we take a look at the final image now, this map from the Euro is showing 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 3 p.m. Jamaica time. We see the blues that represent rainfall across eastern, central, and western Jamaica. But we're more inclined to believe what we see on both maps, and we see the blues across mainly central and western Jamaica. So look out for that afternoon rainfall if you're living in the central and western portions. GFS, not impressed to put eastern Jamaica, well, put some rain across eastern Jamaica. One of the Euro doing that. So look out for that afternoon rainfall across those central and western parishes. And if we take a look at the accumulated precipitation forecast, this map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both showing all the rainfall that's expected from now until 10 p.m. on Friday. And we can definitely see the greens, the yellows across the GFS, showing what, up to 0.3 of an inch of rainfall. Euro a bit more robust, showing some slight reds in there that gets all the way up to 1 inch of rainfall. The Euro has been more robust for the past week in terms of the rainfall forecast, but we'll definitely take it. We're in the month of October. We're in the wettest month of the year for Jamaica. In Kingston, whose bar graph is being shown here at the top, we usually receive up to 170 millimeters of rainfall. That's almost 7 inches of rainfall. In Montego Bay, whose bar graph is being shown right here at the bottom, we usually receive 8.5 inches of rainfall. That's almost 212 millimeters of rainfall. So you can even do the math yourself if you'd like, considering that the rainfall that we receive on the rain gauge has to do with converting inches to millimeters. We know that 1 inch of rainfall is about the same as 25 millimeters of rainfall. And you can visit the website weatherandclimate.com to find out about what your specific parish receives throughout the year in terms of rainfall. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let us focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So as stated, the cold fronts clouds definitely bring some overcast skies and rainfall to portions of Central America already, Cuba, the Bahamas. We can also see some rainfall right here affecting portion of the Leeward Islands associated with that airflow pressure that has a chance of development. Rainfall definitely stretching all the way across the peninsula of Costa Rica, pushing into the broad airflow pressure. Lots of moisture going to be experienced across Central America in the next couple of days. So get prepared. Isolated flash flooding could be possible. And if we take a look at the Doppler radar images of the northeastern Caribbean, let's see what's happening. We can definitely see some of the moisture associated with that low pressure system right here, especially to the east of Antigua and Barbuda. Got the dark greens and yellows that represent some moderate to heavy rainfall. Some rainfall in and around Montserrat, Guadeloupe, St. Kitts and Nevis. Some rainfall to the north and south of Puerto Rico right now. And if you take a look at the Barbados radar, we can see that they've been getting in on some isolated showers today. Most of this coming in from the east. And we can definitely see a lot more rainfall to the south and to the west of there. Just some isolated hit or miss showers that's already affecting portion of southern St. Lucia, section of St. Vincent and Grenadine Islands, definitely getting some rainfall. And we can also see some rainfall coming into portions of Grenada too. If we take a look at the weather view of Doppler radar images, we can make out all of the rainfall right there on the Cayman radar site. We can make out that rainfall across Cuba, the Bahamas, as well as the rainfall that's already being experienced across portion of northern Guatemala, Belize, the Yucatan Peninsula, section of the waters to the east of Nicaragua. So too, some rainfall across Colombia, section of Venezuela as well. And regarding where the rainfall is expected within the next 24 hours, we can definitely make out the reds up into the purples that represents an inch, all the way up to 3 inches of rainfall. That's in store for portion of the Cayman Islands, Cuba, the Bahamas, Western Caribbean in general, Honduras, sections of Belize in for a lot of rainfall. That's where most of the rainfall will be, and we can also see some rainfall across the Bahamas, sections of the Turks and Caicos, Haiti, the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, section of the Leeward Islands, all the way down into the Windward Islands, getting in some amount of rainfall, sections of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Barbados. And even if we scroll down, we see some rainfall in store for portions of Venezuela, Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua as well. And we know that when both maps from the Euro and the GFS are in consensus like this, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.